Hello and welcome back to StudentBlue.com.
So now let's actually create a new class here and kind of brief everything in here. So I'm actually going to do employee. Alright, and in here I'm actually going to create all different access modifiers in here. So let's say I'm actually going to create the private, and the method here, it's going to be private void display employee name. Okay, system.println. My name is. Alright, let's add a parameter here, string name. Okay, so this is private. And let's make it, another one is default, so just going to say void display employee ID system.println, and my employee ID is, I'm going to do ID, and in here let's make it the ID and int. So let's make it protected now, protected void display employee salary. Okay, let's make it double, and I'm going to say salary, and system.println salary is that, and public void display employee, let's say benefits. Okay, string, I'm gonna say insurance. Let's make it actually double as well. Okay, system.println employee only need to pay of their hospital cost. Okay, so I'm just going to do here and insurance percentage. Let's do string.format in here. I like overview of all this access modifier protected, and public. Alright, so now actually let's create access modifier class in here in this example. So in here, right, I'm actually going to import the employee class. So I'm going to say import com.selenium.guru.package201.employee. Alright, so now here I'm going to create static void main string args. So in here I'm actually going to create person1 person equal new, oops, sorry, not person, employee. So it has to be employee employee1 equal new employee, right? So employee1 dot, if you go into our employee here, if I try to use this, display employee name, and I said Danny, and you can see here this one's not work, right? Because private means you can only access to this employee in that you can only access into the same class here. So if I do static void main string args and employee1 equal new employee1 dot employee name equal John. So I create a static void main here just to run my program. So here, right, display employee name is a private method. I'm able to use it only in the same class. I try to use it in here and it doesn't work because it's outside the class. Okay, and outside this package here. So now if I try to use this employee1, let's go back here and do display employee ID. Okay, and do 212 in here. It also does not work because it's saying the display employee ID is not public, not be accessed outside the package. So here what it's saying is that display employee ID has a default access modifier. So that means you can only access this method if you have this class in the same package. Okay, so let's copy this, let's paste it here, and let's run this guy. Meanwhile, I'm going to comment this one, otherwise it's going to IntelliJ is going to throw an error. If I run this, it's going to work. It says my employee is 212. This display employee ID, right, I'm able to call from another class here because it has a default access modifier. And the only reason I'm able to call it from outside class is because it's in the same package. So now let's look into the other one, protected. So now if I do extends the employee, right? So now if I do employee one dot so if I do display employee salary 2200, oops, 20, let's say 65,000. All right, and it's still not going to work because I'm actually creating an object from this parent class, right? So let's create an object from the modifier example child class, e1 equal new access modifier example. So now if I just do e1 display employee salary, this would work. So protected method is only accessible for the child classes. The access modifier is my child class because I'm inheriting the parent class employee. So I have access to the display employee salary protected method. So now the other method here is the public method here, public void display employee benefits. Now that one, I already have access to that. Employee one dot display employee benefits. So I only pay, let's say, 25%. I run this, it's going to say that employee will only need to pay 25 of their hospital cost. So that's kind of like the overview of the access modifier. I know it's a little confusing, but once you play around with it, it's going to be more clear. Also, as Java, if you're going to be a Java programmer, right, you're going to have to be very careful about this access modifiers because you want it to protect the methods, right, and you want it to actually only make those methods public that is not crucial or that does not have any security vulnerability. So most of the time you'll be creating a private or protected method. So that's it for this lecture. I will see you guys in our next lecture.